I'm going to share with you today something that most expats and not even the people who are showing you or Facebook groups will tell you about moving abroad. And that is, if you do not have your money together, it's not a good idea. Don't do it. And I'm not talking about having your savings account or your investment account. I'm talking about if you do not have a clear income strategy, you don't have a clear cash flow, moving abroad, I don't care if it's Vietnam at $200 a month for rent, is not going to make your life better. You will probably see your life being even worse. So why would I say that? Why would I say that? Because I want you to move abroad. I always tell you that. I want you to move abroad. But I want you to move wisely. I want you to move with money. I want you to move knowing how and what your financial situation is. And that does not happen by just guessing it and trying to figure it out. And that's what I hear a lot of people say. Oh, when I get there, I'll figure it out. I mean, rent is so cheap. The cost of living is so cheap. Yeah, even if it's a lower cost of living and your rent or your home expenses, your food expenses are less, you still need a financial plan. And so I don't want that to be you. So think about this. If you come to another country because you felt like, oh, this is the best thing for it. Because a lot of times we get caught up in all the, I'm swimming and it's the middle of December and I'm out on the beach, fantasies, romance, the excitement, the adventure. But this is everyday life. So I don't want you to get caught up with that. And I'm going to tell you what you need to do so you don't get stuck in the romance and find yourself in a country where you're unhappy or can't even get back. I hear people say things like, oh, I moved and I had 20K and I moved to another country and I had to return because I ran out of money. I don't want that to be you. Or I see that so many people are moving because they just want to get out. And I know things are overwhelming. I just came back from the US and I have saw what was going on. And I can read and I see it on the news and I see the tension, I see the fear, but fear and running from something is not a strategy. You need to have an income strategy. I say it again and again because it's your cash flow, the money that's coming in every day, every week, every month, whichever way it comes in, every quarter is what's going to sustain you, not your savings account. You really can't do that. So let's just think about this. If you want to move, what do you need to have in place? What do you need to put in place before you start running out and doing it? Because this is not about dreaming of a beautiful life. It's actually crafting a beautiful life. And when you're crafting a beautiful life, you know exactly where your money is coming from. You have some income stability. I just had this conversation not too long ago with another expat who she was like, I am so frustrated of people coming here and not being able to pay their bills and then they're skipping out on their rent. It's making everybody look bad. So let's talk about income stability. What would that look like for you? Would that be retirement checks, Social Security, VA checks coming in every single month? Those are pretty stable incomes. Or it could be that it could be employment. Maybe you have a remote position and that is what's sustaining you. You have a job and you're going to bring that job with you. Or is it that you have a business that already has a cash flow? Not a business that you're going to start once you get there, but a business that already has a cash flow that can sustain you. Now, anyone knows who started a business. It's a lot of money in. It's like a baby. A lot of money in before anything comes out. And so you can't depend on the fact that you have an amazing idea, and I'm pretty sure you do, for a business that is going to take off immediately and start feeding you. You're going to want to have a cash flow. So that's what I mean about income stability. Having your income coming from somewhere that is something that you can depend on. You've been depending on it already, or you've already started initiating the things in place that it will be able to sustain you. You know, I talk about mailbox checks. I love mailbox checks. So if you have mailbox checks, hallelujah, come on, you can start packing your bags. If you have a job that's flowing with you, go ahead and start packing your bags. If you have a business that you've been running for a while and you have a consistent P&L, you can pack your bags. But if you are thinking, hey, look how much money I have in the bank, I'm not really sure if that's necessarily a great idea. So I just want to put you a pause on that. Now, once you get your cash flow, the next thing is I want you to have some kind of savings. Some kind of savings anywhere between 3 to 6 months or 6 to 12 months, whichever. I'm going to let you pick out the perfect number for you, but not just 1 month of whatever your expenses are. Because remember, I always tell you, when you get here, when you land wherever you're going, the expenses are going to hit you. There are going to be so many different expenses, everywhere from rent and the deposit, from moving expenses, to turning your electricity on, your internet on, to, getting that full stock of food that's in your house. That first grocery that you do, that you need every single thing, every salt, pepper, shaker, all those kind of things, that adds up. So you want to have that kind of cushion in your money already sitting there besides the cash flow, right? So that's outside of what's going to come in every month. That's in your savings. And then you got to think about all the little things that you want to do to your new place. Even if you move into a place that's fully furnished, you want to put your own little touches there. That's going to cost you something. So think about all these small little things that you're thinking, oh, that's not too expensive. And I hear most of you saying, I'm going to sell everything. I'm not going to come with anything. I'm going to buy everything when I get there. Well, that is going to be a cost that I need you to basically bank for that cost. So if you're going to say, when I get there, I'm going to buy my sheets, my towels, I'm going to buy my duvet, my bedspread, my comforter, my lamps, my light bulbs, my can opener, my knives, you get the drift? That is going to cost you some money. It doesn't matter if it's less money. If you think about it, each time you're spending money, especially if you're a person who decided you're going to live off your savings, it's being a debit to your account and nothing's going back in. That's why I want you to have a cash flow. I remember when I moved back to the United States, it was in 1 month, I spent $20,000. 1 month. That was my first month of landing there because we had to get so many different things. Now, mind you, the the house that we rented, we rented for some friends, and so therefore we didn't have to make a deposit. And they also gave us very basic furniture. So they gave us all the beds that we need. So we didn't need beds, but we needed sheets, we needed towels, the kitchen, we had to buy pots, pans, and dishes. We didn't even buy furniture because we had furniture coming on its way. But we also had to buy televisions. And so we spent $20,000. Now, can you imagine if we thought that was the savings that we were going to use to live off of? We had that money, it was bulk money, and we also had money coming in every single month. So I just want you to think about that. Don't use your savings as the money you're going to live off of. Let that be part of your cushion. And that's why you want to have those 3 to 6 months. And if you have children or you are thinking of something like you're going to work, you're also going to need, work clothes, transportation, cars, all those things start to add up. So I also want to think about a cost we don't really talk a lot about is the exit cost, what it costs you to move, right? Now, I know a lot of people say, oh, I'm selling everything. But when you sell everything, I am pretty sure the things that you're bringing are not going to fit into 2 suitcases under 50 pounds. They're not. Okay, maybe they are. Maybe you're just like Wonder Packer. I don't know. But for most of us, it does not. I have taken so many trips back and forth. I just came back on Monday, and you know what? I came back with this big old box. What was in that box? My Bartini. I love my Bartini. I could not bring it on any other trip. So every time I go back and forth, I'm picking up little things here and there and bringing them back. My favorite things, my little comforts and my creatures of comfort that I love. So this trip, I brought back my Bartini. And so, okay, you're asking what is a Bartini? I call it's the Keurig for adults. It's a little machine. It makes little adult beverages with a little pot. All right, sidetrack. So I want you to think about how you're not going to be able to bring everything, and so therefore there's a cost of exiting. And so even if you take 2 suitcases, if you take only 2 suitcases under 50 pounds, that means you have a lot of things to buy. If you say, oh, that's because I'm shipping stuff, do you have your shipping costs calculated? That is what I want you to think about. What is your shipping cost? If you're shipping a container, if you're shipping a pod, if you're shipping a pallet, all of that is going to cost you. What is it going to cost you to get your stuff from your house to the shipper? What is it going to cost you to get rid of your stuff? So that is part of your exit cost. And then I want you to think about when you land, a lot of us do not have global insurance. Do you have global medical insurance? Your health insurance, is it going to cover you no matter what country you're in? So you may have to get new health insurance when you arrive. Therefore, that's another cost I want you to start thinking about. Healthcare costs. Also, you want to think, and I know healthcare is probably a lot cheaper. I have found that my healthcare is a lot less money here, but nevertheless, that's a cost. You also want to think about when I talk about exit costs of the house that you live in, when you're selling it, even if you may sell it, that you might get some money, or if you decide to rent it and maybe it's not available right away, or you have to clean it up when you're selling it, you have to, it may be on the market. I know quite a few people whose houses fell through at the last minute and they had to move anyway, and they still had to pay mortgage even once they were gone. So all of these are just some different things that you want to actually think about. You want to think about the cost. Your airline tickets, right? How much is those airline tickets going to cost you? Your visa, depending on what country you're going to, visas can range in the thousands. So do you have that money also budgeted? So these are things I want you to think about when you're saying that you want to move. Why I'm saying that you got to be financially strong. Now, I am not saying that you need to have millions and millions of dollars. I am saying that you need to have a cash flow. If you don't have a cash flow, and this is where I think there are some exceptions. If you are totally, I don't have a cash flow right now, I am not working in the country that I'm living in, and I am spending oodles and oodles of money every day just to survive, then perhaps if you come on what I'm going to call like the noodle budget, I learned this from my friend, the budgetista, then if you come and move like on a noodle budget where you just like having the very basics, then you would be able to survive a little bit longer than you probably would be if you stayed in the States. One of the things I want us to think about is the fact that when we're in the States, and our money is getting a little tight, we can get little gig jobs, right? Like, I don't know, you can do a little Instacart, or you can do something on Upwork or Fiverr, which you could do even once you move to another country. But there's little things that you can kind of jump into to make a little bit of money, an Uber or a Lyft, some kind of things like that, where you're not gonna have that opportunity when you move to another country. And so that's why really having that cash flow is so important. So just kind of think about what you can do. I don't say don't move if you don't have all your money together, but I do say understand what your cost is going to be, understand how much money you have saved, how much money you have coming in, so therefore you can budget. So I'm going to do a video, probably the next video, and I will tell you how I moved, even though it was unexpected and 5 months, and what money that I had that I'm going to move on. Because that, even though it was unexpected, I still had income streams that I knew I could count on. And I want that for you too. I want you to also think about it. So I want you to realize that, yes, you're moving to a country that's probably going to be a lot less money for you, but I don't want you to think that it's going to fix all your money problems. You're just going to see different kinds of money problems. Moving abroad is not a financial fix. Yes, for a lot of people who have steady cash coming in, they find themselves living better than ever before because they're living at a higher standard of living for less. But that's because they have steady money coming in. That's different than not having any money and trying to live off your savings. I don't want to hear another person tell me that they are saving up and trying to have enough money saved to move. It's not about savings. It's about cash flow. Cash flow. Cash flow. And that's what I need you to have. I'm Sable, your bougie girlfriend. I want you to live an elevated life, and that is going to require cash flow. See you the next time.